Hi everyone, it's Laura from Laura's Handcrafted Treats and Treasures. Welcome to or back to my channel. I am coming here today with a little collaboration. This is going to be featuring Carolyn's Musings, who is the one who invited me to the collaboration. This is from her kit's Christmas Garden. So there are 4 kits and they are Christmas Garden Junk Journal Kit. There is a Christmas Garden Mini Inserts, Christmas Garden Writing, and Christmas Garden Paper Packs. I have chosen to use the Christmas Garden Writing, but I'm also incorporating all of the other kits. I'm pulling from all the other kits to make my journal. I'm going to be making a journal. I'd also like to mention that within the collaboration, along with Carolyn is going to be doing a video, and there are 5 other ladies that are joining as well as myself. So Trysh, Ebony, Rosa, Lori, and Gina are also in this collaboration using the kits. So we all can come up with whatever we want from the kits. I believe, let's see, Rosa and Gina are going to be filming through Carolyn's YouTube channel, and Trysh, Ebony, and Lori all have their own channels. So everything is going to be linked in the description box down below, but keep an eye on Carolyn's channel for the other 2 ladies, for Rosa and Gina, because their projects will be through her channel. I'm also going to link all of the kits down below, and I think that covers all of the business. Okay, let's get to business. So here is, like I said, the journal writing kit, and I have printed them front and back, and I've printed them according to how I see it. So, you know, when you get your packs, or you get them, you're looking at them digital, you sort of go, what do I want my front? What do I want my back? At least that's how I do it. I print all my fronts, then I go through and print all my backs. So this is going to be my first page, and this is going to be the inside. So the way I determined it was if it had a little character or something, that was going to be a front page, and then anything that had writing, like this has bullet points and your date, so you can write in there, that was going to be my backing. So another writing page. Aren't they gorgeous? Look at this little squirrel, so cute. And then I hope you can see it all, because I've kind of moved it to you so you can see a little bit of all of it. Then this is another writing. I just love these little note things, super cute. Then the pen I considered an object and writing. And then the little birds in this one. Oh, I love the little girl. And in the actual junk journal kit, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. There's going to be another journal coming, and it's going to be more than 1 signature, I can tell you that. I'm envisioning a 3 signature journal. And here is the last page. So my single signature journals, I stick to 6 pages. It just seems to be enough, because I do like to fill them and decorate them and put tags and all that goody stuff in there. So this one here, get moved over here. This came with the writing kit, and then I've just backed it. And then these came from the junk journal kit, and junk journal kit. This was from the junk journal kit, and this one I did not need to back. This was the little greetings and stuff, or little words. I didn't need to back that one. This is another little envelope. I didn't need to back that one. This one is came from the junk journal kit. I loved the pockets. I loved the little almost postage stamp looking little sayings. And then this came from the junk journal kit, and I backed it, and this came from the junk journal kit. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking an envelope. This just came from just some papers when we were at a hospital visit, and I took the envelope, I cut it down to size, and then I just went ahead and glued those pages down. And then I've done this before where I've left that open so you could slide things in, but I didn't want this color to show. And then I have this material. I have been wanting to do a fabric covered journal for a while again. I've done one, and I've really been wanting to get back into doing several of them. So I think this goes pretty well, and you're not going to see a whole lot of it, but I think it goes well enough because when I end up covering the journal and then putting another one of the pictures over top, the front and the back, you're not going to see a whole lot of the material. Anyhow, that's my plan, and let's get this party started. Let's go. Here we go. The first thing I need to do is glue this batting. This is quilting batting, and I'm not a quilter. I just know that this is quilting batting. And I wanted to mention a couple other things that you could use. So I have these. I have a ton of these I got from someone. And you could use this if you don't have an envelope because it's pretty sturdy. And you could also use a file folder because it's pretty sturdy. A little bit more than the 110-pound paperweight. But I'm going to go ahead and use this. I like them because they're flexible. And I know this started out probably a 10 or 11, could have been a 12 by something. Might have been a 12 by 10. It was a pretty large envelope, so I had to cut it down to size to 11 by 8.5, little more than 8.5, and that's so that when my signature goes in there, it's not peeking out the top or the bottom. And the way I've cut them, I didn't want to slice too much off when I sliced my signatures, so I sort of cut them by hand, and so they sort of come out a little bit, and that's fine. I have enough room. I'm going to be using 3-in-1 or Fabrifix, so Beacons Fabrifix 3-in-1. I'm using this. I would normally use, art glitter glue, but since I'm using, fabric, I want to make sure my fabric sticks, and this is good for paper too. So I'm also going to just cover my work surface. Now I cut these at 8.5 by, I think it was 5.25, because I think this was 10.5. And I want it to cover, pretty much cover all of this. I'm going to do each side. I'm only going to glue around sort of the middle. I'm going to leave my outside at maybe a 1/2 inch because I'm going to be sewing this. Not down the middle, so that doesn't matter. I'm just going to be sewing the edges, and I don't want the glue to gum up my needle. So I'm just going to try to stay within that realm and get this glued on first. Now, like I said, I've only done this once before, and I think I didn't have any batting, but I was at church one day, and I'm helping with quilting, but I'm not a quilter, but I cut things. I can cut things, and I can put designs together, because that I know how to do. And I'm like, what is that? She's like, it's quilting material. I'm like, what? Like, ooh, do you have any pieces laying around? And she had, when they trim off the edge of the batting that goes in between, she had these strips, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to do the same thing. So anyway, I think we might have more, because I do have plans for some fabric journals. I loved the way my other little journal came out. It was, let's see, can't remember what I named it, but it is in my playlist. And then that one I did kind of something different with the fabric. I actually did a watercolor little thing. I think I inked it. There was this fabric that had like printing on it, script on it. And I did a little bit of my own like stamping and inked it up, and then used watercolor to make it come to life, and it turned out really good. So I just have not had time to get back to do any fabric albums, but I'm gonna spend time getting all of this part done for several of them, get the fabric on them, and then every time I need a cover for like whichever, I have some different fabrics I've picked out, fall mostly, because I love fall. I love anything fall. And then I'll just have them at the ready, and I can just do the signature or signatures and get them in there. So we're going to go ahead and let that dry for just a minute. I probably could go ahead and just cover it, but I am going to let that dry. Once that's done, I am going to cut this down a little bit because it's a lot bigger. I just cut these pieces. That was something I think, again, was left over at church, and they just had these pieces, or we were doing something. I said, oh, that would make such a pretty cover. Can I take some of that? So I wasn't quite sure how much I would need, but when I get to that part, and I'm not putting the batting on the inside. So when I get to that part, I'm going to cut it down so that I have a good amount that I can bring over to the edges, so that when I go to put my paper on the inside, I just have a really nice clean edge. So we're gonna let that dry, and then we'll come back and put that material on. All right, so I have trimmed my piece down, and I actually have another one, and I had two of these, about the same size, which I might be able to get another book out of. So definitely save that. I had this little piece too, and maybe I'll just cover something with this to go in the book. I don't know. But I have another book I'm putting this in as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide this a little bit to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same process. I'm going to glue, but I'm not going to glue the edges. Now this one is going to be probably a little bit more difficult because I can't put my nozzle. It'll just catch all that fuzzies. So I just sort of have to keep my nozzle up a little bit. Yeah, or it'll just get clogged up. So we'll go ahead and do that. Yep, see, I'm starting to drag string with me. Yuck. Okay. And just keep going. And it's going to be sewn anyway, so it's fine that it's not completely like glued everywhere. But I am going to get that spine though. I do want to get in there. And come around the edge. And I'm getting some more goopies. Come on. Don't give up on me now. We're so close. Okay. Take care of that later. And now I'm going to take this and turn it over on top of the fabric, just so I can line it up to see kind of where it's going to go with my sticky gluey fingers. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because these are all going to be turned in, and that's plenty of room. That's plenty of room to put that other piece of paper in there. All right, so we're going to let that dry. And then we're going to come back and get all this folded in. All right, so now I'm going to cut these corners, and I have this fancy schmancy little tool recommended by Amanda Charlesworth, and this is the first time I'm using it, but the idea is it helps you get that little miter in there for your corners. So yeah, I'm going to give that a try without, you know, maybe slicing my fingers off. And I'm just going to line that up. I could also just draw a pencil mark and cut it. But yeah, and then that way when I fold these in, I'm going to miter that little corner in there and get that to lay down flat. All right, so let's get the rest of them done. Okay, that was great. I will link this in the description box in case you're interested in it. But yeah, that was perfect. So I am again gonna take my glue, and remember, I don't want to put it along here. I'm gonna put it a little bit in the edge when I get ready to bring these corners in, but I don't want to put it along here because this is where I'm gonna be sewing. So I'm just basically gonna do one side at a time. And I guess start wherever your preference is. I'm still going to continue to use the Fabri-Tac because I am working with fabric. Oops, I went to the end there. Well, that's fine. It's okay. So pay attention. Pay attention, Laura. Okay, I'm just going to get that folded up. And I'm just going to get that initial part done, and then I'll just go back and get the rest of this glued down. Okay, so we got that. And then I'm going to do the same over here. And you can do whichever first, your sides or your top, whichever you want. But I'm just going to do the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to miter my edges. Okay, get that glued. Okay, so if I'm doing this right, I'm really just going to kind of tuck this in here and bring it over to get that edge. So I am going to put just a little smidgen. Well, that's not a smidgen. This is a smidgen. And I'm going to just start tucking that corner in so that when I go to lay this over, you can see it's going to give it a nice edge. And I think I'm going to put some corner, I don't know what they're called, but you put the little, they're metal. I'll think of the name, I'm sure, in the next go around. Okay, so I'm going to do the same over here. I'm getting big bubbles. Just to get that edge tucked in. Okay. Come on, get in there. Oh, I guess I didn't get any in there. No, I can feel it. It's in there. Like, what's crafting without getting all gluey, right? I'm just trying to tuck that up. I gotta get this off my hands first. That's the problem. Okay. Tuck that in there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get that up there. Come on. Now remember, there is going to be paper on the inside, so again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm not perfect at it, but I keep trying. I keep going. All right, it's coming together. Ooh, I'm going to love this. I'm just going to love this. Okay, I'm going to get this side done. All right, all 4 sides are done. They're going to dry. I'm going to let them dry just a little bit, and then I'm going to go and sew around. And I'm going to pick, like, I guess it doesn't really matter, but if this is going to be my front or this is going to be my front, I will start my sewing at the back so that it ends up back here and not in front. I'm not the best sewer either. I don't sew quilts, but I do like to sew paper and stuff like this. And I've picked out a gold, so I'm hoping I don't mess it up because, yeah, that would be a tragedy. So we'll be back. And here is my cover. So as you can see, I have some stitching. Now I'm not perfect at it. I think it came out okay. Of course, my thread got caught a couple times and I had to sort of finagle it, but I think it came out fine. And then you can see, I can see a little bit of wrinkling in here, but you're not going to see that because there's going to be another little piece of the paper that goes in there like I talked about, front and back. Although, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, wouldn't a little fabric pocket? Okay, that's a thought. Anyway, I have gone ahead and this came from, I want to say it came from the paper part of it, but I'll try to remember, and I'm going to put little sticky tags when I go do a final so I can tell you where they all came from. If you get all of the kits, you'll find them. So a little bit, this kind of covers up the inside stitching on the top and the bottom, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. But I chose this one because it has the Glory to the Newborn King. And no matter what I do down here, whether I do a little pocket or whatever, this is going to show. So I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do here. And I think now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to go ahead and ink up that center. Although you're really not going to see that either because the signature will be sewn into it. So when I printed this out, I made sure I just trimmed the white edges so that it fit nicely in there. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to glue the center. I don't want to start gluing over here yet or over here. I want to glue my center in. So I'm going to do this with art glitter glue. I could use the fabric tack, but I'm just going to do it with the art glitter glue. And I'm just going to sort of line this up to the line there. And then I'm going to give it a good amount. Okay, and then I'm going to close it, but I'm going to sort of look at it and say, okay, it's got to go up just a little bit. So I'm going to close it, but then I'm also going to take my ruler and I'm going to press down. My ruler will cooperate. And then I'm just going to press down and make sure I have that center all glued down. That's the most important, but then I want to open it back up too because I'm going to want this to lay nice once it opens, okay? So let's see if I got it. I did get it along with a little bit of that paper, but that's fine. Now I'm going to come over here and I can see it's still a little tacky there, so let me press that down just a little bit more. Then I'm going to actually glue the paper. And I'm going to get close to them edges because I want them glued down very, very nicely. Now, art glitter glue, they have a fabric art glitter glue. I have not tried it. It will stick to the fabric. It just doesn't take as quickly as the Fabri-Tac does, and you have to just kind of work with it a little bit, but it will take. But I definitely want to make sure those edges are in there. And I like the art glitter glue for the fine tip because then you don't see all the squiggly wiggly lines. And then I'm going to bring that up. I want to make sure I'm not gluing these papers down together. And it still looks pretty straight. So I'm just going to go ahead and just get that burnished in there real good. And just give that time to take. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the other side. And there we go. The cover is done. This is still setting. I'm going to just walk away and leave that alone because the worst thing you can do is continue to just try to mess around with it. Oh, I better remember, now the cover's this way. Don't forget, you want to make sure you're putting it in whichever side you want, which, like I said, it doesn't matter for me. But yeah, that's still setting in, and I always open it back up. And then I close it and make sure. Now, you're going to see a little bit of wrinkle over here, which is fine. I'm probably going to put something over the spine anyway. And you never really do this anyhow. You kind of do this to open up your book and start writing in it. Okay, so I'm going to let that aside while that is getting a really good dry. I am going to start inking the edges of my signature. So I have them all ready to go. And I just wanted to give you this one little tip. When I am inking my edges, when you're working with flimsy papers, I mean, it's not flimsy, it's sturdy, it's the weight I want, but sometimes it's just hard to ink. So I had just made a little template that I can put in here, and then that way, as I'm inking, I have just a little more stability to get those edges inked. So I'm going to go ahead and complete all of that. I usually start in the middle and take one out and then rebuild the book. I also ink inside and outside. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. I've got most of the inking of the tags and stuff done, so we'll be able to put our book together. So before I go away and do that, I am just going to bring in another little element I wanted to work on with you. So this came from the journal kit, and I've just cut everything out, but have decided that I would like to put acetate in the middle here. Now I don't really work with acetate a lot, but it's just going to be on the inside and you're not going to see it anyway. So I'm literally just going to cut a little piece, and then I think I'm going to score tape. I'll score tape around the outside of this, and then I'll lay my acetate in. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line the inside of these little windows, and it's not going to take much to do that, because I just want something. I'm going to put it at the top and then just go so far down so it's past the window on this one and this one, so that when you take the card out, you don't see stark white, because I don't like that. And then these I did not print on the back, but I think I'm going to have enough of this to actually back these, and I'll glue them down and then cut them out. So I think I'm going to have enough for both. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and then we'll be back and we'll put our signatures in and start putting this book together. Okay, I've come to a little bit of a crossroads. I didn't think this would bother me, but it bothers me. So when I trim my papers, I usually do it with an X-Acto knife and my ruler, and I trim, you know. This time I cut these all individually and they come out a little bit, but that didn't matter to me, because I knew I was going to lose. As you cut further down, you're going to lose more of this little border. Well, when I was cutting here, I did okay on the top. I don't know if my paper shifted or what happened, but I got kind of wonky at the bottom, and some of it didn't even come through. So my suggestion is cut them all by hand, and I wouldn't cut them when they're folded. I would cut them when they're open, then do your folding and let it be. So this is bothering me, and it's bothering me enough that as I was inking, I'm like, yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to get rid of all of the little borders. Super cute, but I don't want to reprint everything, and it's bothering me enough to get rid of it. So it's just a way you can fix a mistake, or if you're okay with it, leave it as it is, but I just would suggest cutting them all individually. All right, so I have gone through the book and I have sort of made some tags. I've kind of scoped out what I want in there, where they're going to go. Like I said, not every single page is going to have a pocket. I want it more for writing. And then there was a couple things that I did want to show you. This being one of them. So I have this die cut. Now I didn't use the big part. I only used the smaller part. And then I had some, because I had some paper, I had done this in paper, but I wanted it to be a little thicker. So I basically just backed it on, glued it together and then ran it through. You have to run it through a couple times. You can do them separately too and glue them. But I thought that would look nice right there in the corner. And then after I get those inked and put my panels on, I can do a little ticket. Then there could be, or a tag, and then some little tickets in here. And then you still have all of this for writing. So I just wanted to show you that, what that was. I think it was a Tim Holtz die, and I don't remember the name of it. All right, when I got to here, I am going to put a pocket down here, but it's going to be a very slim pocket. So, and I'm going to put little notes in there, little cards like this that came with the kit. Because that way you can, you know, if you have things going on in December, you could mark a day and then you could write your little note about what's happening. And then this one I cut out to match. And this one, you'll be able to tuck paper here, but you'll still be able to write here. So this is a little bit insight to what I have going on. This particular one, I actually had 2 of these because I print 2 because I want to make pockets. And I thought, well, I'll just take it and flip it this way and then make another pocket. I'm going to leave this one. I was going to do the same fussy cut around him, or her, but I decided just to leave that one alone. I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm going to leave that one alone. And then on this one, I just did a fussy cut. I had another one printed out on the lighter weight paper, and then I just glued it down to a heavier weight paper. This is going to get glued up here, and then it's going to become a tuck spot from here. Then a pocket here. So I have pockets in the front and the back. So that's probably all I'm going to do with that. Now I wanted to show you in the junk journal kit, there's these super cute little card tags, and one of mine is going to go on the back of the journal, and I'm just simply going to put it in there. It's just going to be a little something extra to the back. Okay. I'm gluing the whole thing down. I'm not going to make it so other things can tuck here. And then on this one, I had started the folio. So I had said previously that I wanted to do a little folio in the front. This was from the junk journal kit. So this is going to get glued here. This is going to get glued here. And that way you can open it this way. And then I just took these little pockets and I'm going to glue these down. But I had also messed up on another long pocket, or a long, here they are, sheet, because I didn't back it. And that's what I wanted to make the folio out of. They're like, hey, no problem. I have a tag. I have a full tag. And I want this to go all the way down to the bottom. So I just wanted to mention that these bottoms here, you don't want to flip them up. I'm going to cut them completely off. I don't need them. And then that way, I could put it on the bottom one, but I'm not going to, because I'm just going to glue that down. I'm going to cut the bulk off. And then I'll get those re-inked. But then when I stack my tags like this, and this is how I wanted to do it, then I can make another tag here that's going to go all the way to the bottom. Plus I can put a tag in here and in here. Okay, so that was sort of the gist of that. I have one more once this is folded. Now you'll see I've cut this a little bit shorter here because I want it to fold like this. So I'm going to be putting something here, and then this will get glued 3 sides, like I had said before, to the front. But this is the part also where I'm deciding if I want to put a string or something. I'm going to want to get that attached and glued down. Something that is going to be a closure. I can either tie it. I haven't quite decided. I can make a little loop out of some of the paper and actually put a magnet in here before I put this down, and then I could have it magnet close so that when you're opening and closing the journal, this isn't flopping all over the place. So I'll either do, like I said, a string or a tie, but then I'll have tags that can go on either side of that middle piece, whatever I decide to do, so that it doesn't hinder that. So, all right, the next time you see me, this book is going to be put together and we're going to be doing a final flip through. I decided I needed to come back on before I do the flip through because I wanted to show you how I am going to attach this to the front of the journal. So I kind of hem-hawed a couple of different things, but I was going through some of my die cuts and that just for other reasons. And actually I came across this and I thought, oh, I'll pull this out. And this is when I first started the journal because you never know what I might want to use that for. And then as I'm looking at this, since I'm going to be gluing the back, I thought, hey, what if I took that, glue it to the back before it gets glued down, take this side, cut it off, but then I turned it around to get that nice little edge that the die cut gives it, put this here, and then magnetize that so this closes. So this is what I've come up with, and I wanted to show you before I actually get it on so you see what I'm doing. So I took this piece, and like I said, it's gonna get glued here. I'm not gonna put this one on first because I want to center this one. So see, when this is on properly, it's gonna magnetize. So I sort of did a couple different layers on this one, and then I layered it with some of the paper, and then I made the little bow tie thing. And what I'm going to do is I've put my magnet here, and I'm going to glue this on top of this so you won't see that magnet. And you might if you tip it, because I think what I might do, because it's up a little bit, is I might put a glue dot under here and then just let that sort of be a 3D look. And then you won't see this magnet because it's going to be glued down, and then that will pop on there. So I wanted to show you what I did before I actually get it done, so that when I do the flip through the video, you understand how I did that. All right, now I think I'll be back for a flip through. Okay, so here is the final journal. I absolutely love it. I think it came out so nice. I did go ahead and add on some beads on the end just to cover up that spine. It's a little bit loose in some spots. I might have to go back and do some touch up with some art glitter glue, but we'll see. If it doesn't hold, I'll just come up with something else to cover that. It didn't necessarily need to be covered, but I don't know, I just felt like it did. All right, so let's get started. A couple of mentions first. I did film how to sew in the signatures, which I've done many times before. Many people know how to do it, but I filmed it in slow motion. That's not the first time I've done that. So I lost that footage, and too late, it was already sewn in. But everything else is here, hopefully. Another thing is I did go ahead and add on the book corners. Now, the book corners I got from Amazon, and they came in these different, there's this like coppery looking one, I guess, or a deep, I don't really know what you call that, but it is sort of what I would have used. But I'm trying to use up some of these really bright ones every time I go to use them. I just don't care for that brightness. But how I got them to look like this was I just used some Rub and Buff. I don't have it in the gold. I only have it in the, I think it's copper. Yeah. Spanish copper, and I've used it on here, and as you can see, it just antiqued them very well, so pretty happy with that. All right, that being said, got that out of the way, all business. Let's get into the journal. So this is the little pocket, the little folio I wanted to put on front, and it has a magnetic closure. When you open this up, you have this little pocket here. Now, I used all of the kits, every single one of them. There's 4 of them, and I used elements out of all of them. So I can't tell you this came from the paper pack, this came from the junk journal, this came from the, I just used them all. So anyway, she got glued there, and then I made a pocket over here out of the same paper, and then just lined it up to make it match. And then I had some leftover sheets that I went ahead and made a little journaling thing. Oh Night Divine, here's a little journal booklet. So that goes in there, and then you flip this open, and in here I have some pockets and some tags. And the way I did this, as I said, I wanted this tag to go all the way down, so I had cut those ends off and just glued here. And so I put this tag in there, and it's just basically for journaling. And then over here, there is a little dangle on here, but if you open this up, you can write over here. And then I did end up making this a pocket, so I have another little tag in here. And then I just put these little dangles on with a bullpen, just because I wanted to dress it up. And you can journal on the back. And then once this is in here, and it does take a little bit to wiggle that in here. Anyhow, you get the idea. These are over top of the book, so it's kind of dangling like that. Anyhow, I just love it. I thought that was so cool. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that. And then this, I also made left pockets. So you can add several more tags. And this, you know, I kept them on this side because I didn't know if this would hinder, but it doesn't. You could put a full sheet of paper in there just to bring life to these, because they do sort of get lost in the paper. But so that's a pocket. And then I just went ahead and used the ribbon to close it, and I left it long so that if you wanted to add more papers or your own journaling and stuff, you had room. So let's open this up. And I kept the inside very, very simple. I've used some tags. I've also made this match. I've printed more paper to make this match. I've used some of the sayings. And then over here, again, a pocket that matches, but yet you can journal. You can still journal on this. Then you have your tags, another little of the sayings, glad tidings. This I left completely blank for journaling. This, again, I matched and just made a pocket and then put the 3 journal cards in it. Okay, and then over here, the next page, all for journaling. Again, I wanted to leave these little note things for journaling. Another one of the little postage stamp graphics that was with it. A postcard. These are just papers I keep around to put in journals. Again, this matches when you pull everything out. I do that a lot because I hate to cover up the beautiful pictures, so I like to leave them intact. Another journaling. I have another one of the little postage stamps that I've bordered in brown, journaling. And then over here, I'm going to make a few more of these to go in for little cards, because I thought this would be good. Like I think I said before, if you put, you know, like you had a certain dates and you wanted to use different color markers or whatever, you could pull out which one and be like, well, what was that for? Another one of the little postage stamps. I have another journaling, more journaling. And like I said, this was all about the journaling. I did not want to ruin these papers. You wouldn't ruin them, but I didn't want to cover them. And then over here, I cut out the little girl. I did this one on cardstock, cut her out, and then just glued here and here so that it could become a tuck spot. And this one, again, I just, I did a matching pocket. I think I had one of these left over because I forgot to print on the back or something. So I just flipped it and thought, well, we're just gonna, it looked fine. We're gonna make a pocket out of that. And then, of course, I had some left over. This one I had forgot to back, which was, it's in here somewhere. So I had an extra paper, and I'm like, well, I can't let that go to waste. So I'm going to go ahead and back it, and then that becomes a journal spot. And then this was extra paper. I backed it, and there's more journaling. Or you could do pictures, too. You could put a picture on the back, then journal on the front. More journaling. Lots more journaling. You could put little pictures here, too. You could put maybe a picture in here and then journal about it. So it doesn't have to be just journaling. And this would be great for like an Advent, sort of a journal book for Advent, where you could read your Advent scriptures and then you could write about it. And then here, I just made this flip up tuck spot. And then I had an extra one of these left and decided to back that. I have that tag. And then the back side again. And then over here, I had taken the other little envelope, and then again, I made the pocket, and this came with the kit, and just put it on the back. And then, like I said, I left this pretty loose because I want, or pretty long, so that if someone, me or someone, wants to, you know, do a little extra adding, there's room to grow. Room to grow, don't you know? So this is my collaboration for Carolyn's Musings. Carolyn, thank you for inviting me to this and letting me play with these absolutely beautiful papers. One thing I didn't mention, and I don't know if you can see it, but I cut out, again, I had another piece of paper and I cut just the shape out right here, and I embossed it. And I don't know if the camera picks it up. I'm going to try to wiggle it towards the light to see if it does, but this is all embossed. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day, everyone. God's blessings, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.